Hello everyone. My first love is truly young children. It's been a calling for as long as I can remember, and working with a young child has been rewarding in so many ways. At the same time, if you've ever worked with a young child, you know it goes hand in hand with misbehavior. And initially, misbehavior sounds like they're purposely doing something incorrect. But if you will look at misbehavior, what it means is a misguided child or a child who's misunderstood. And that's a very different thing than a kid trying to ruin your day. There's 4 different types of misbehavior, and it is attention, power, revenge, and sadly display of inadequacy. I say that sadly because you rarely, if ever, see display of inadequacy in a young child. You take a toddler who, learning to walk, falls down. He gets up over and over and over again. You tell him no, and he's going to keep trying. The inadequacy steps in when you have the feeling of hopelessness, and that comes to a young child only when too much has been done for him. God forbid, mom's on drugs, dad's not in the picture, and so the grandparents are going to take care and raise a little child. And because they feel sorry for her, they do everything for her. They pour her. They lay out her clothes every day. They pour her cereal every day. So now she's 6 years old, and for her birthday they surprise her with a bicycle. And instead of being excited, she cries. She says, "I can't do it." When you get a young child who says, "I can't do it," that is a display of inadequacy. If you ever see this, what you do is only recognize what they do right and applaud that. You never compare or say, "Why can't you do it like so-and-so," whatever. That certainly doesn't help. Kids who feel better will do better. They can get over this, but it's very difficult when the misguided goal is display of inadequacy. The other 3 you're going to see 40% of the time a young child is going to misbehave. And it's just because they feel like they only belong if they are having your attention or in a power struggle or revenge. All kids will go through it. Those 3 types are going to happen. You will recognize the goal of this misconduct, this misbehavior, by how it makes you feel. If you ever feel frustrated with a child, it's probably the goal of attention. And that's that, "Mommy, look at me. Mommy, look at how I can do this," over and over. Now, all kids need attention. But you know the kid who goes on and on and on. "Look at me. I'm on the monkey bars. Look, I can do this." And you really feel annoyed. You really feel frustrated. That's attention. And what you do then is you ignore it when possible. But then as soon as you see a behavior that you approve of, like sitting down quietly looking at a book, you go and you give them attention. You know that all young children everybody needs attention, but we're focusing on young children. But you know the goal of, is attention when they annoy you. And so you don't want to reward it going, "Okay, what is it you want?" You ignore it when possible, but when you see the good behavior, you make sure you give them that attention. Another thing you can do with that is say, if I could, when everybody's calm and they're not in that goal and they're not annoying you that way, you say, "I love you with all my heart, and I would love to give you every minute of my day, but the problem with that is that there's no time for me to cook my dinner or work with the other kids," or whatever the situation may be. But just know you're in my heart. And then when they are least expecting it, make sure you're giving that positive impact and feedback by giving them attention. Young children need just little bits at a time. They need it throughout the day, but they need your undivided attention. Kneeling down where the kid's at, looking them directly in the eye, and eye contact, smiling, the gesture saying, "Wow, that's a really neat thing. You put that puzzle together," or whatever the child did. Give them that attention. But give them that attention when they're not demanding it, if you will. Okay, the next one is a power struggle. This is the one I personally had the most trouble with. This is when a kid is going to have his way, and you'll know this is the goal when you feel angry. And feelings are just feelings. There's no right or wrong to them, but just use it as a guide. If you feel angry, maybe the goal of this behavior is for their anger to come out. And so what you do in that case is you definitely avoid the power struggle, and you simply give them a choice. They feel like they only belong if they're in control, so give them control when they possibly can. And what you do, therefore, if you have a class and they're going to line up, you tell them ahead of time, do you want to be the first in line, or do you want to be the last in line? You want to be the leader, or you want to be the caboose? "Oh, I want to be the leader." Say, "Cool. Okay, well, right before I tell everybody to line up, you're going to be with me, we're going to be up to the front, and then you can run and be the first in line." That way they have a sense of control. That's not really manipulation. It's really they need to belong, so you give them some power. And one wise teacher gave me this idea of taking 2 phone books and wrapping them in paper so it gives a little bit of a weight but not too heavy, and then you simply have the child, will you please take this over to so-and-so's class? See, everybody is born needing to be needed, and sometimes we have to create those needs, and that really resolves a lot of issues for those kid who feels like he only belongs if he has power, if he's a sense of help in the class. So you ask them, I really need your help. Could you open the door, please, for us? They're going to be quick to respond. They're pleasers. They're going to want to do what you want them to do. It's just that they feel like they don't belong. It's like bad breath is better than no breath. They're going to try different things. So they're not being bad as much as they're really trying to fit in, and it may not be in the best way, but we can respond in a way that improves it so they don't feel like they have to tantrum or insist they don't have their way. And then another way is revenge, and this one's a difficult one too, because the child feels like he only belongs if he's hurting your feelings. And this is a result of you being hurt. If your feelings are hurt, then that's what it is revenge. And what happens when our feelings are hurt, we have a tendency to want to lash out. So, oh yeah, well, I can show you. But then both of you leave with your feelings hurt and the problems don't arise. You want the child to focus on what he's done wrong and not what was done to him. And a great example of a revenge is when the child is gone to stay with his dad's house, and I was back at mom's house, and she's tucking him in, and she's making him, brush his teeth, and she had him follow some rules. And he said, I don't have to do this at dad's house. I like him better. I hate you. Well, that would hurt my feelings, and it would probably hurt your feelings. But the wise mom in that situation is going to step back until she has it together, and then she's going to say, you must have your feelings hurt that you have different, it must be difficult that you have rules at dad's that are different from rules here. Well, no, maybe, and then maybe the child will confess and say, well, it's just, I want you guys to, I want to be in the same home. I want it to be like it used to be. So I bet that's really hard for you. In other words, you have to recognize the feeling. And once you do that, you will see a child who will just melt in your hands. Once the feeling's been recognized and once the child is calmed down, then it's okay to say, that really hurt my feelings when you said those words. And usually it's, Mommy, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I didn't want that. I said, I believe you and I know that. Maybe next time your feelings are hurt, you could say it this way and then give them guidance on what to say. Daddy does it differently, or this hurts my feelings. If you could teach a child to name a feeling, you've done such an amazing thing, because feelings for a child is an abstract concept and kids think concretely. And so I think it's very helpful if you give them ammunition, if you will. The whole thing is, again, to show kindness to your child, love for the child, and respect for yourself, and respect for the child too. You want it to be a win-win situation, so recognizing the feelings in a sense of revenge. There's so much to this, but just know that a child is going to misbehave. It doesn't matter what a great parent you are, what a great teacher you are, they're going to do it. And so what you do is you recognize what type of misbehavior it is and then act accordingly. Ignore if it's for attention, withdraw if it's anger, and then go back and give them choices. And if it's revenge, please know that you have to recognize their feelings. That has to be stated. And then you can go back and say how it hurts your feelings, and then what you can do to solve it next time. And then finally, and hope you never see this with a young child, we see it with older kids and we see it with adults, but that's the inadequacy. I have a college student who might not continue because she's afraid of math. Well, that's an inadequacy that she feels, whereas a young child typically won't feel that unless too much has been done for them. So I hope this has been helpful on understanding misbehavior with young children. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.